The bed is now prepared and we're ready to plant the flowers. In this front bed in front of the house, we're going to put in we have Dreams Red, Dreams White, and these are the Sugar Daddies. And right next to Sugar Daddies are the Blue Wave Petunias and the Dragon Wing Begonias. What I have done here is set my plants out. I drew my pattern where I want those plants to be there. The front here is going to be wave petunias, and in the back we'll have patterns of Dream Whites and Sugar Daddies and Dream Reds, and then there's going to be 3 sets of 3s for the dragon wings here and there, and in the front here would be wave petunias, and the regular petunias in these 2 areas. And that will be our pattern. So we'll show you what it looks like when we get that all planted. Okay, we put in our back flowers here, the begonias, petunias, begonias, petunias, begonias. And notice how I pattern these flowers. I've got the Sugar Daddies here, the reds here, and the whites there. The reason I put the reds in the middle is because I want more contrast with the red begonias between the red and the purple and the red and the whites. And now we're ready to put in the wave petunias in front. When planting flowers like petunias, it's good to use the width of your hand like this. Like 1 flower here, and 1 flower here, 1 flower here. That way you get the proper spacing. So we'll plant one here. You want it that far from the front. These waves will grow so they will fall over the front. So I'm going to put 2 rows in here. These are beautiful petunias. We had these grown by a private grower that we use for Evangel University. And the reason we don't buy, I don't like to buy flowers at Lowe's or some of the other ones. You have to be careful because they use growth regulators in them. And that will prevent your flowers from growing. You're going to have to knock the soil off the roots when you plant your flowers. The reason they use growth regulators is so the plants look good on the shelf. My finger width. See that distance from all of those flowers? There's an old flower in that one. And you just continue until you get all your flowers in, and that's how you space your flowers and how you group them. You want them grouped into patterns. So it should look pretty pleasing. So we'll show you a video after these have grown a while to show you how they develop. We now have all the flowers planted in this front bed here. And let's just recap what we've done. We set out 3 groups of 3 begonias. We've allowed enough space for them to grow, but I suspect that they will even overgrow the spaces that we've allotted. We've set out between the begonia petunias. We have the sugar daddies right there, and we made groups of 5. And then we have the red, and again a group of 5, and the whites, a group of 5. The reason I made groups of 5, I want big color splashes between the begonias. And I've placed the sugar daddies next to the begonias because they give a little more contrasting color if I would have, instead of putting the reds there. So I put the reds in the middle to contrast in between the colors. And this pattern of the petunias here was also carried out in this group of petunias. So we have 15 petunias between the dragonwing begonias. In the front we have put purple waves, and I think there are about 20 purple waves planted here in front. And we've spaced the flowers at about 7 inches, which is palms and fingers, little finger and thumb width between the plants. And that's the bed for now. On May 20th, I planted the border around the patio bed. I used 155 petunias to plant the section around the border of the patio. I used 4 different colors, and I made them in groups of 4, so I would get a larger splash of individual colors. I also used repeating patterns, for example, white, then a sugar daddy in groups of 4, and then reds and dark purple. Then I repeated that with whites, the sugar daddies, the reds, and the dark purple. I did the same pattern in the front of the bed. I started with reds, dark purple, whites, the sugar daddies, reds, dark purple, whites, and the reds, and I repeated that throughout the entire bed. As I said, in this front bed we have a total of approximately, within a few petunias, of about 155 petunias. In the bed next to the house we have a total of 9 red begonias spaced 3 in groups of 3, 3 groups of 3. Total of 30 petunias, the red, the sugar daddies, and the whites. And there were 24 purple waves in the front portion of the bed. Let's go to the back and see what we've done there. This bed is on the southeast corner of the back side of the home. In this bed we used a group of 3 dragon wing begonias, and then we planted 8 petunias on each side. On this side we have 4 whites and 4 sugar daddies, and on the other side we have 4 sugar daddies and 4 reds, and we have a total of 4 dark purple wave petunias in the front of the bed. The bed on the southwest corner of the home, we repeated the same type of pattern, except that I have 2 groups of 3 dragon wing begonias, a group of 2 sets of 6 each of the dark purple petunias, and the sugar daddies on the east side of that bed. A total of 8 dark purple wave petunias in the front of the bed. In between the begonias I have 5 sugar daddies, and on the west side end of the bed I have a total of 12 petunias. The total petunias then in this bed are 29 of the regular petunias, and 8 of the dark purple waves, and 6 dragon wing begonias. A big challenge was the large bed in the back of the home. I was running low on petunias and I didn't want to buy any more, so I got some canna, and the blank space in this bed was planted in about 28 canna. Then on the end of the bed I planted 5 dragon wing begonias on both ends, and the 28 canna spaced in the back will serve as a backdrop for the petunias that are in the front. With these petunias I grouped them in groups of 4. I like to use odd numbers, but it worked easier for me because the plants that I received came in groups of 4 in their little containers, so I used just groups of 4 to make it easier to mix these petunias. But I used the same type of a repeating pattern in this bed that I used in other beds. So we have 150 petunias here, total of 10 dragon wing begonias and 28 canna that are planted in the center rear of the bed. Before I prepared the beds for planting that were around the house, I had volunteer petunias that grew from last year's plantings. So I transplanted those into pots that I had, and I set them here at the end of the brick walk. Out of this pot here grew a lemon tree, a Myers lemon tree, which was destroyed by the frost, and volunteer petunias, because the tree was planted near petunias last year, sprang up in the bottom of this, so I cut the lemon tree down and let these petunias grow. As you see, this winter weather that we had shattered this pot last year, so we'll see how long this pot will last. On the end of each arbor, in these spaces here, I planted some more canna. Just one clump of canna I put in this end, and another clump of canna was put on this side. The dahlia bulbs were left in this pot and overwintered and volunteered to grow, so they're doing fine. I just added a little Osmocote, and it looks like they'll blossom soon. Bed preparation in the growing of flowers around this house is especially important. The base for the plantings are soil that was purchased from Lowe's. That comes from Miami, Oklahoma. To amend the soil, I used, this year I used Nature Life, which comes in 3 cubic foot bags. Nature Life is a cotton burr mulch. It helps the soil structure immensely and keeps it from getting a hard crust on it, so your water will go permeate the soil easier. I did use Treflon in these beds, which is a herbicide to prevent grasses from growing in the bed. It will help keep the weeds down. If I were growing vegetables here, I would not use Treflon. I also use 14 Osmocote in each of the beds, which works well as a fertilizer because you only have to fertilize once during the whole summer, and all you have to do is water and watch them grow. The blueberries here suffered from our recent freeze that we had, which was a hard freeze, got to about 19 degrees. At the time the blueberries were all in blossom, it destroyed all the blossoms, so I have very few blueberries on the plants this year, which actually is probably going to help the plants grow better this year, because they'll be putting most of their energy into providing foliage, and so I should have a great crop of blueberries next year. You see heavy mulch over the blueberries. This is pine bark mulch, and I lost two blueberry plants within the last couple years, so I replaced them with some new plants. These are very young plants that I bought at Sam's Club. Hopefully they will grow. These two, there were 4 plants here, only 2 survived the heavy frost. So we'll see how well they grow this year. Just quick pictures here. It's June 30th, 2007. It's starting to sprinkle a little bit, and we're going to have thunderstorms and possible tornadoes. So thought I'd get pictures of these before the weather turned too bad. Let's go in the back. This is a pan shot of the front before we head in the back. Notice how the flowers have grown since last took pictures of them right after we put them in. This is the southeast corner of the house in the back. One rose growing on our rose bush, and a few of the patio flowers. Canna are growing well by the arbor. Notice how well the canna have grown. Hope the wind doesn't destroy these flowers. Blueberry bushes are doing fine. Oh, I think that's enough for the flowers before it starts to thunder and rain.